I found out about it this morning from a message that you had sent, kind of asking what my thoughts were. And then I immediately called Shirley Almarigi, who's the chairperson for the commission, and she hadn't heard about it. She didn't know the vote was coming up, so she was unaware. I think she'd spoken to the speaker last week, and he informed her that something like this might be coming, but didn't give her a time frame or let her know when it might be coming. So we were all kind of taken by surprise on this, and really, this is the first time I'm seeing the draft of the proposed legislation. It's kind of disappointing to know that the commission's been at work on this for over a year, since that original legislation was passed, and we've spent hours studying best practices and procedures from other jurisdictions and other tribes, trying to find out the best way to do these things, the best way to administer these rules and regulations. So it's kind of disappointing, and I would urge to not eliminate the commission as an administrative body, the Ethics Commission, and to not combine it with the election board, because it's a completely distinct administrative function. The Ethics Commission, our task was campaign finance. That's it. Nothing. The election board, they run the elections. They determine who can be candidates and who qualifies for candidacy, and we just make sure that they're reporting the money that they're getting properly, and not doing anything kind of behind the scenes that might impair their neutrality or might make them beholden to a certain special interest group. So I think that these are just two such distinct functions. It's best to keep them with two separate administrative bodies. Yeah, the election board they sent us a letter with some concerns that they have where our duties might be overlapping with some of theirs, because I don't know that they had, at that point they had seen the legislation that created the commission, but they hadn't seen any of our proposed rules yet. So I think their concerns were fair, that they wanted to make sure there was not going to be any overlap on duties. And then so I took the letter that they sent and kind of went point by point and addressed their concerns and demonstrated that the legislation that the council had passed creating the Ethics Commission was creating an administrative body with a completely separate function, and there would be no overlap. We solely were to deal with the money, and I thought that was an acceptable response. We didn't hear anything back from the election board after that, so we kind of assumed that addressed their concerns, and maybe we were going to be able to move forward without any issues. My dad is, we knew the whole time that this would be an uphill battle, because an element of the legislation that was originally passed was that any rule that we proposed had to fall back to the council to be approved again. It's a difficult situation passing rules that are going to apply to the people who have to approve the rules. So we knew that would be an uphill battle, but I'm disappointed to see it going this direction, and I would urge the council to keep them in two separate administrative bodies.